Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the Ears Podcast, produced by Terrier TV. I am Frank Robb. We are now sponsored by Edna Wilson with Celebrate Remax Aerospace. Thank you, Miss Edna. Bill, Cindy, how are you guys doing? You guys you got me on both sides here, so I can't look at you both at once. I gotta take a quick peek.
That's right.
Left, a quick
You
peek
have
to
to
the right.
pick.
You have to go back and
Pick
forth.
one.
Cindy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. We just finished a podcast and then jumping into a podcast, and it went really well.
Yeah, I
Yep.
thought so.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty good. You guys have anything exciting coming on? Oh, we do have trivia coming up. We got to take care of that before I leave.
Yes,
Okay.
we do. We have
Yep.
to take care of trivia. We have to defend our third place finish.
Were we third place?
I thought so. I thought we were like third place.
I feel
I
like
don't
you're going to
know.
move up this time.
I think
At least
so.
second.
I hope so. I hope
They
At
ain't going to
least
see what's
second.
hitting them, Cindy. They have no flipping idea of the army we're bringing.
Are you going to dress and theme?
Ooh.
What is there a theme?
There is.
What's the theme?
It's old Hollywood this year.
Oh.
I'm pretty much already there.
Yes.
I
mean,
yes,
aren't I?
you are.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe shave the beard and just have a giant set of a mustache and a giant set of sideburns.
That's an
The
idea.
big mutton chops?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Look like a Civil War
Easy for you to say.
Do you
Civil
know what
War.
Hollywood is?
No, he doesn't really. He doesn't.
They do reenactments of things in
Yeah,
Hollywood.
there you go. It's
So
all
I fit
about-
in with whatever.
It's all about
perfectly.
the Civil War. That's
That's-
Hollywood Civil War. Same
Okay,
thing.
yeah. It's
I-
that's
I've-
exactly
I've
what
been
we're
there.
going
I've been
for.
there one time.
To the Civil War or to Hollywood?
Both, pretty much. They're one and the same, are they not? No, I've been to Hollywood once.
Once. Okay.
Yeah.
What? Yep.
Yeah, I walked on the stars
There you go.
on the boulevard. You know what I mean?
Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah.
Yeah. Did
The
it.
Walk of Fame.
Yeah, I did it. Yep, it was true. I do not have a star there.
I'll give it time.
All right, you guys ready to get into this?
Let's do it.
Okay. So today on the podcast, we are joined by Miss Jenny Schlueter from Heartland Animal Shelter. She's the executive director there. Howdy, Jenny. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I practiced that many times to get it right. Just so you know. After me and you talk, I'm like, Schlueter. So yeah, I feel like I
It's close.
did. I still butcher it,
Close.
Jenny?
He still messed it up,
Dag
didn't he? He did.
Say it correctly for me, Jenny.
I said leader with the SCH at the beginning.
Yeah, didn't
It's okay.
I
Who
thought I
cares?
said that. I don't know. I'm sorry,
You're
Jenny.
close. Don't worry about it. Everybody says it their own way.
You're right. You told me even your family had different ways of saying it, right?
Yes.
Would
No
you-
one has decided on the correct pronunciation yet.
Oh my goodness. So tell people that don't know how me and you met.
Oh my goodness.
It's quite the
Well,
story.
It is. We met. Isn't it weird? It seems so long ago because it was pre-pandemic.
Yep.
Right before everything went crazy, right? Summer of 2019, right?
It was. Yeah, it was right. But it was right before it all went a different direction for sure.
Yeah. And so we were up here in Chicago, and who knew that it would be so hard for us to get one little alligator out of the lagoon in Humboldt Park, which is my neighborhood. So I live about half a block west of the park, and I walk my dog around that lagoon almost every single day. And who knew there would be a little alligator in there that would cause so much commotion? So for, I don't know, was it several days or like a week, we all tried, our officers and some local reptile people and local DNR people, and everybody tried. And people were starting, first it was like a novelty and people thought it was funny. And then people started to get a little concerned because, would he come out and eat someone's dog? We don't really know much about that up here. And so we needed to bring in the expert. And we were lucky enough to fly you up here and help us out.
Yeah, that was pretty special. Yep. Talking about life-changing events, but I'm one of those when I meet people. I mean, you've talked about this before. I like to ask them, like, hey, how's it going? Who are you? What are you up to? What kind of things are you doing? And in talking to you and just sitting back and watching you work those couple of days I was up there, I realized this lady's no flipping joke. Like, she is doing everything. She's doing, like, at the same time, she's running like 3 phones a tablet, like a laptop computer, and answering questions, like taking my phone, answering questions on it. And I'm like, well, she's doing social media. She's doing, I don't even know what she's doing. She's doing all these things. Like, this lady is no joke. Like, how is it possible that she's doing all this? And from right there, I knew this woman's something special. Yeah. So anyhow, that's my pitch.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's pure adrenaline and need.
So at that time, you were working for Chicago Animal Care and Control.
Right.
Okay. So tell us about your position there and what you're onto and what you're doing now.
Well, my position at Chicago Animal Care and Control, I was there for about 6 years. It was great because, it is a city department, and this is really interesting. A lot of people don't know the difference between like a municipal shelter and like a private shelter where I am now, and what that means for the services they provide and the resources and all of that. So, some people might not think it's the right thing for a city to run an animal shelter. There's a lot of debate, but either way, it is a service just like, the public health department, just like the streets and sanitation who picks up your trash and plows the streets when it snows, those types of things. So if there is a stray animal in Chicago Animal Care and Control is the shelter where they will go, just like many other municipalities, so people can go and find their stray. Or if they find a lost pet, they can bring them there. Also, if people can no longer keep their pets, they can bring them there. We also have officers looking for wildlife, or not looking, picking up sick and injured wildlife. And there's so many different types of animals. It's crazy, like how many things that department will get involved in. And so the whole point is to help reunite people with their pets, to help sick and injured strays. I often say it's like the emergency room for any kind of animal in Chicago. And so it's a very exciting and chaotic place to work.
I was awestruck the first time I went there with you guys. I'm kind of an emotional fella in the first place, but I remember going there with you and meeting some dogs and cats and chickens and all kinds of crazy stuff. And just the amount of animals that the city of Chicago had in shelters was very emotional to see all that and everything you guys were going through there. How does that compare to what you're doing now and the position you're at, where you're at with Heartland?
Yeah, so when you are an open access shelter, a municipal shelter like that, you're taking all those animals in and you have no idea what's going to happen every day. For example, when you get a call that you think is a joke about an alligator in Lagoon, and suddenly that's number one priority, things like that. When we were meeting in secret chambers with the mayor to figure this whole thing out. And then you get a lot of fame for that. So then quickly you dress all your dogs in alligator costumes and try to get them adopted that way, right? So
that was one of the things we said, wasn't it? Like, what if we don't find a way to adopt animals out of this, we've really dropped the ball.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Exactly
So that was a fun part of my job. So, I mean, the difference is that place is total chaos, nonstop, every day, unexpected things. Then you've got private rescue groups or rescue shelters like Heartland Animal Shelter, where I am now. And what we do is we go in and we take animals from places like Chicago Animal Care and Control to help those animals and to provide them with the kind of care that they need that they really can't get at the emergency room, right? So you go to the emergency room for a certain type of care, and then you're in a different setting for a different kind of long-term care. It's kind of, I think that's a good analogy. So that's the emergency room, and then we transfer them over to our place for things like special, critical or, ongoing medical care for something that needs a little more time to heal. And definitely for more emotional behavioral support for animals who are stressed out or scared or have some behavior issues that can be addressed with more training. But in a really large place, stressful place like that, they're not going to be able to address it. So we go in and we take animals out of there, rehabilitate them, and then prepare them for adoption. Okay. And so that's really rewarding. So it's kind of like a giant giant hotel, moving over to like a boutique hotel.
Okay. So let me backtrack for a little bit. Your background, you were a news reporter. You worked at Chicago Animal Care and Control, and now I'm sure you've done a lot of other things between now and then as well. To be where you're at now as the executive director of Heartland, what are things you've picked up along the way that kind of have constructed you into the person you are that allows you to be the perfect person for this job?
Well, you know what? I love this job because it requires all kinds of different skills. So for a while, I owned my own bookshop in Spain after I worked as a reporter there, and a little cat rescue as well, of course. So I have some business and budgeting skills from that. Of course, communication skills are super important because you're communicating all day, right? So you're communicating your need for adopters, you're communicating your need to raise funds to help, whatever emergency case of the day that you took on. And you need to write grants to help provide funding for programs. You need to pitch things to the media to get more coverage. You have to plan events. So there's a lot of communication skills that are relevant. So I have to tell you a funny story. After my reporting job, and I moved back to the States, and I was development director at a cat focused shelter here. My grandmother, who's from the South, North Carolina, she would always say, "Well, it's such a shame, all that schooling, and she's just cleaning litter boxes." And I would say, "No, Grandma, that's not, I mean, sure, sometimes I have to do that. That is true. But I'm also doing lots of other things." So I think like a lot of people don't understand that there are a lot of jobs in the shelter. And I love it. I love it that I can go in and, I always have office animals. And so I get to take care of them. And of course, I take breaks throughout the day to walk dogs or play with kittens or bottle feed or even assist our medical team with things. But then I'm writing proposals. I'm looking at budgets. It's just, you get to do so many different things and being a person maybe with Google diagnosed ADD.
It makes you perfect though for nonprofit. Nonprofit,
Exactly.
you cannot be a person that is that's not my job kind of person. You
No.
have to be willing to do everything.
Absolutely. And someone calls in sick and you might, be cleaning the kennels and feeding that. I mean, it just depends, which is a welcome break sometimes, right? So I love being in a position where I can do so many different things.
It sounds like controlled chaos a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But
And
it's all relative.
Yeah.
It's all relative, right? Because
You're
my
right.
staff, like my team now sometimes says, "Oh, it's chaos." I said, "No, this is nothing compared to CACC." But, it's all what you're used to. I mean,
Correct.
we have about 100 animals on site at any given time. CACC usually has at least 500 animals on site at any given time. So, I mean, it's just, and, we get 1,000 coming through our door a year. They're getting 15,000 coming through their door a year. So it's just the smaller version of the same thing.
So tell us about Heartland itself. You guys are doing dogs and cats. What you guys do, animals of all kinds. Tell us about that organization.
Yeah. So, you know what? Heartland is so lovely. I've worked with in many different capacities with different groups. And what's wonderful about Heartland is that it's like this perfect size, right? It's like, what's the story? The Three Little Bears. It's not too big, not too small. It's just right. So we impact a lot of animals every year, but we don't have to rush them through. I mean, we don't want them staying there forever, but we can take on a lot of cases. And I would say our specialty is taking on some medical cases, again, where, some groups that are too small are not going to have the funds or resources or expertise to take on that type of care and rehabilitation. And then places that are too large and getting too many animals and don't have the time either. So we have this like sweet middle spot where we have the resources to take on a lot of animals, quite frankly, that other groups just aren't going to do. So, for example, a couple of days ago, one of my colleagues from CACC called and said, hey, we have this dog here who just, her upper respiratory infection, which is pretty common in most shelters for the dogs and cats to get a cold. Hers was turning into pneumonia very quickly. She was really stressed out. She wasn't eating, and they just have too much going on to provide the high level of care she needed. And so I was able to, and again, I pushed the envelope just enough. We really didn't have space. We really didn't have time, but there was no other rescue interest, and I knew we had the skills to do it. So I spoke with my medical team, and they're amazing, and they're such lovely people. I mean, they literally sleep overnight in our bedroom all the time with sick animals. I said, could we just, help this one dog and she can live in my office? And so with Tito, my office cat. And they said, yes, of course. And we got her in and stabilized pretty quickly. And just getting out of that stressful environment was huge. And she was there a few days, and now today she left with a foster.
Awesome.
Who's going to continue her treatment. So that's what characterizes Heartland. It's also moved into a new building last year. It's lovely. Everybody comes in and can't believe the good vibes. There's tons of natural light. The cats all have these beautiful rooms with patios. The dogs have pretty nice suites with really lovely beds. But I think more than anything, oftentimes shelters don't have a lot of good natural light, and this building does have that. And I think it makes a difference in how the animals recover, how they feel, how the visitors feel coming inside. It's pleasant without being over the top fancy, which I think, again, kind of meeting right in that middle spot.
There you go. Yeah. So I have something I've noticed in speaking to people around Chicago in the animal world that, you, Jenny, you're a beautiful person. And I think maybe you don't realize how respected you are in the animal world, in the animal rescue world there in Chicago, because everybody up there speaks super highly of you. You are it when it comes to critters up there. I think you don't get a lot of that credit you deserve. So thank you for that. And I know you have a big cause with animal wellness too. So tell us a little bit about animal wellness.
Oh, well, one issue, thank you for asking me. One issue that I think is important is that, there are a lot of pieces in animal welfare in general. And so there's so many amazing people that want to help dogs and cats. But sometimes I think they forget about the other animals, and kind of, I'd like people, I guess my wish, to make the connection. If you can recognize that a dog and a cat has feelings, they have emotions, they have family ties, they have meaningful relationships, that you have to apply that to other animals as well. I mean, it's not the same across the board, but I would say, I'm a vegan for ethical and environmental reasons, and even, human rights reasons. There are a lot of reasons to do so. And I mean, health is a fringe benefit, although I wouldn't say I'm super healthy about it, but either way, sort of. But I would say that I try not to judge or preach too much about what people should do in their personal decisions, but I would say that it is a goal of mine to kind of bridge that gap, so that when so many people show such tremendous care and passion for dogs and cats, for example, and if they would take that into consideration when dealing with wildlife, when thinking about conservation issues and endangered species, and why it's important to protect them, and what we're calling farmed animals and livestock, and what we're doing to them, and the way they're treated, and whether or not we really need that cheap burger, and what does that mean? Are we clear cutting forests in Brazil? I mean, there's so many related issues. And I think over the last 50 years in companion animal welfare, we're starting to see, these dogs and cats not just as pets, but as important, valued, loved members of the family. And I hope that kind of love and care for those animals and understanding starts to evolve into the way that we're treating other animals. And I know that's important to you as well.
Yeah, I think that love and understanding in a lot of topics is lost. People hear about someone with a different idea or a different thought process on things, and automatically they don't like that person, they don't want anything to do with that person. And I think our culture and our country and our world would be so much better off if people would just listen to what people have to say. Doesn't mean you have to take it as the gospel truth. Listen to what they have to say, make up your own mind, but appreciate them for having their own opinion. And it's a beautiful thing when somebody has their own thought process on something.
Absolutely. I always say it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
You're right, and you'll learn something. You don't have to agree with it to learn something. You know,
Right,
Cindy and I have had this discussion about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I've sat in your office and talked to you about these kind of things. There's some things you don't know, and you don't know it until you have a conversation with someone who does know it. And
Right.
again, it might not totally change your yes or no on something, but it goes, man, maybe I should be rethinking the way I am digesting that entire idea.
Yeah. Some of my greatest friendships are people that think so different than I do on so many things, but it challenges you to think about the world outside of yourself and about things bigger than you are.
Yep. Everybody
Right.
needs more of that in their life. Little
Absolutely.
diversity in your thinking goes a long ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just, I think also companion animals bring so much love and unconditional love to people. And so I hope people understand that sometimes animal welfare people have a reputation, maybe deservedly, for being nicer and caring more about animals than people. But I also want to prove that I love people as well. And so I think that a big part of, we brought those animals here, we domesticated them, we put them in the position that they're in. And so I feel strongly that we owe them, dedication and respect. And I think sometimes people have maybe unrealistic expectations of their companion animals and don't respect them as individual beings. And so I hope that, by taking on animals with some special needs, that people start to look at them as individuals and start to respect them for their resiliency, and then benefit when they give them a chance, benefit from the unconditional love that they bring to them, because that unconditional love is something every human being needs. And without it, I think we're pretty miserable, and then we treat others pretty badly. So my goal is that everybody gets to benefit from the unconditional love of a pet, and that it benefits them so much that they are better versions of themselves, and they can pass that on. So I know I sound like a real crazy hippie, but
I thank God for my critters all the time. I mean, I kid you
Right.
not. And me and you have talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
My dogs have got me through some rough spots. I thank God for putting them in my life. There's nothing like I see the fuzzy side of it and the non-fuzzy side of it. But I love my fuzzy critters. I love my non-fuzzy critters. But my dogs are they've been there for me through some rough stuff. Nothing like the
Right.
hug and love of a good dog. But Cindy's a cat person, so it is what it is. You have
I'm
a
a
dog.
both person.
Yeah, I know you have both.
I-
You have both.
Yes, a bipedal, yes.
See, I've never
Good.
owned
want
a cat.
everybody to be bipedal.
Yeah, I've never owned a cat, but I like cats.
You don't own cats. Cats own you.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
well, I've never had a
Let's
cat
start
in my
there.
household, but I like
It's
cats.
about time we change that.
Yeah, I've snuggled with plenty of cats
I
in
know where you
Chicago
can get
too.
some.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think we know where
Everybody
you can
knows
find
where
some. Yeah.
No one's ever going to run out of cats,
This
especially
is-
not in Florida.
Yeah,
Um,
this is true. This is very
Listen,
true.
and you also can't just right off the bat, you can't have just one. You normally need at least two.
That is correct.
Mhm.
Or,
Yeah.
or in my case, even more.
My dogs do
Who
like
knows?
cats.
Or in my
Who's
case,
judging?
9.
My dogs do enjoy cats.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They love them.
my dog, he's such a big dog, too. And everyone, when we rescued him, everyone was like, oh, you're not going to be able to bring that dog into that house. He loves nothing more than to just lay down and let his cats lay on him. They steal his bed.
Aw.
He loves nothing more than to just be near them and their presence.
I love it.
Oh
That's
Lord.
the best.
He is the
feeling to do
bottom of
that.
the hierarchy with the cats, and he's 95 pounds. He he has no
Aw.
idea. He could just do whatever he wanted.
All right, Jenny, I
And
gave
he
you some
chooses
homework.
Not to.
Yep.
You did.
I did. You want to hit me with you want to hit us with the topic in general and maybe a question or two?
Okay. Well, we talked about this a little bit, but let's explore this further, this situation with municipal shelters like CACC work with lots of different kinds of animals. So what kinds of animals do shelters like CACC, Chicago Animal Care and Control, work with in addition to dogs and cats?
I think I know the answer to this.
I already heard chickens. I heard chickens.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing chickens up there many times. I dare to say I saw a sheep up there one time too.
Wow.
Right.
Yep.
What about like rabbits, gerbils?
Yep.
Yep. So
All of those.
yeah, keep
Birds.
going. Keep going. Birds.
Cougars.
Yep.
What?
Alligators.
Alligators. Yep. I think the answer she is looking for is everything.
There we go.
Everything. Sugar
Yeah.
gliders, farm animals,
Oh.
turtles, guinea pigs. So yeah, everything. And one of the groups of animals that we started to work with a lot, I don't really know why, we were doing a lot of cockfighting rooster busts. So were you ever there when we had giant
yeah.
rooms full of roosters?
Yeah, like giant,
fun.
giant roosters.
Yeah. And then
Like,
I became
shockingly humongous.
Yeah, and then I accidentally became a expert in socializing ex-cockfighters into becoming nice roosters, and now I have one living in my backyard with
I
his
thought you
girls.
had a couple of them. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Luis and his chicas.
Lord. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness,
Yep.
Jenny. Okay, what else you got for us, Jenny? Hit us another one.
Well, here's the thing. So this is related. What kind of animals are illegal to own in the city of Chicago?
I know the answer to this one too, so I'm gonna tap out on this one. You guys go ahead.
So probably an alligator.
I'm gonna guess, yeah. If that wasn't on the list, it is now.
It is now.
Believe it or not, I'm
Right.
pretty sure there's nothing illegal in Chicago.
Right. So that's the thing. It's
Really?
a little tricky. Let me clarify that. So there are no city ordinances saying that you can't own a certain type of pet. Now, there are state laws, right, and federal laws about owning endangered species or certain types of wild animals. Surprisingly, the alligator does not fall into that, right?
Right.
Because they're certainly not endangered.
Oh,
Yeah,
So it
DNR
wasn't
had some ideas about it, but the
technically-
city of Chicago had different ideas.
Exactly. And so there was, see, that gets into the boring, like, bureaucratic stuff. But basically, there are no laws. And so people are often surprised, for example, that I do have a rooster in the middle of the city, but so far there are no laws saying that I can't. So everything is complaint driven, however. So you can have anything as long as your neighbors don't complain. But because neighbors complain, we ended up having to go and address issues with people's horses in the backyard in the middle of the city and all kinds of different things. Chickens.
Really, horses in the backyard in the middle of the city?
Yeah, some people had horses. Sometimes they like to ride them down the middle of the expressway as well.
Oh, I remember hearing
For
about
some
that.
reason.
I remember hearing
Remember
about
that
that.
guy?
I do.
Yep.
I do. That was a
Yep.
couple years ago, wasn't it?
Yep.
I think that was the
So-
year after I worked the alligator thing out. I remember a guy. It was in the heat or
Yes.
something too. It was something very not good.
He tried it a couple of times and we don't really know why.
Yeah.
And then, people bring them in for like kids' birthday parties and stuff. And then they'll call us and we'll say, well, technically it's not illegal. Although, you got to make a little money. So they got to have a permit.
Right.
So that's about it.
Wow.
So that's kind of surprising.
So you guys take everything in, and then nothing's
Mhm.
illegal. So yeah, they do go hand in hand, I reckon.
oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. And then my next question is related as well. So you know that we can take in anything, or you can own any kind of animal. So how many pets? What is the pet limit in Chicago? And you'll see a theme here.
I'm gonna guess there also is no limit.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's nothing.
Whatever your heart desires.
Well, I heard you say something about 9 cats, so I'm thinking there are no
Clearly, there
limits.
is not a limit.
There is no legal limit. Again, common sense would dictate that as long as you can take
Common
care
sense.
of them and you're right.
Uh,
What's that?
yeah,
But
right.
as long as you take care of them and you don't bother anybody, it's cool. We don't want to encourage anybody to hoard animals. But I mean, what I always say about that is
Stop pointing at me, Frank.
No, she's over here dying. Oh, Lord.
Feeling
some,
judged.
She's feeling
some
judged.
people can't even take care of one cat, right?
Yeah.
Much less 9. But some people can take care of 9 cats, a pit bull, and 4 chickens with no problem.
I'm hearing nothing wrong with this.
She's a superhero is what it comes down to. She's breaking her cape out and making sure we know about it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Lord. All right, you got one more for us?
Yeah, this is fun.
Okay.
How long does it take to neuter and spay a cat and a dog at a busy shelter clinic?
Neuters don't take long, I'm sure.
Right.
Spay would probably take longer.
Let's do it in order. So how long for neutering a cat?
Well, I don't know.
20 minutes.
I'd say less than neutering a cat. I don't know. Yeah, I'd say less than 10.
Well, let me clarify something too. So I'm talking about the time from first incision to like final stitch, not all the prep and all that stuff, if that helps.
Probably less than 5 minutes then.
Yep. So to neuter a
Wow.
cat, 2 minutes.
Wow.
Wow.
There you go. Wow.
It's wham bam, make that little slice, pull it out, cut it off, the knot, put it back in, make the stitch. I'm sure you didn't really need to visualize that. And
But
then,
now I am.
and then how about neutering a dog?
I imagine it takes less time.
No, it takes a little
Probably
more.
more.
Does it
time.
more? Okay. Maybe
About 10 to 15 minutes or so.
Wow.
And this
Okay.
is like a pretty, I should say as well, this would be a very good, highly skilled, highly experienced shelter vet. Okay, and then how about spaying? So how long to spay a cat?
I'd guess twice the amount of time.
Yeah, about 20 to 30 minutes for a cat. And then how about a dog, spaying a dog?
It was 20 minutes on the other thing. Probably twice the time then, I guess, again. Probably, 40 minutes? 45?
Yep, very good, very good. And of course, all of that varies a lot on the size and the age and what part of the reproductive cycle they're in. So, because if they're in heat or if they're pregnant, that complicates things quite a bit. But otherwise, not too long. So people are always surprised how quickly the procedures actually go.
Yeah, it's really
So
fast.
I thought that would be kind of fun.
All right, we got time. We got time for one more, Jenny.
Oh God, this is not.
No
oh my
pressure.
gosh.
Yeah, no pressure. We got time for one more though.
This is like not. I'm gonna do my best to be fast. Okay, it's not gonna be easy.
No, take
You're
your time.
fine. You're
You're
fine.
fine. Take your time.
You can see I suck at this.
No,
don't.
you're doing
Some-
really, really good. Don't give yourself a hard time. You're doing great.
Thank you. Why do some shelters call themselves no kill while others reject that label? Oh my God.
Well, really, you can't ever truly be no kill. Correct. There are some situations where animals are just suffering, right? I mean,
Right.
I would
right,
think so.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like a good
Okay.
answer. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. See, I get a little triggered on this question. I'm gonna try to be as fast as I can.
No, don't be
here's-
triggered. You take your time and tell us what's going on.
You're so nice. So here's the situation. I think that there has been a little bit of a misunderstanding about that label and how it works and how it applies. So what I used to say when I worked at Chicago Animal Care and Control, and as a person who I feel dedicated my life to helping animals and giving them second chances, to then go there and be called a killer and accused of not caring enough, which I have to tell you, people who work at municipal shelters and who are working so hard every day and see nonstop traumatic things every day are often attacked by the public and said, "You're killers, you're not doing good enough." It's really crazy. And so you don't even realize how bad it is until you're in that situation. So the no-kill philosophy, basically, there are a lot of definitions, but basically what it is that 90% of the animals in your care and your organization leave alive. So they leave either via adoption or transfer to another organization like Heartland, where I work, or they're returned to their owners, or they go to a foster home, or in the case of, under socialized cats, they might go to live in a barn, something like that. So that's a live outcome. And then everything else, let's say they die in care because they were too sick, or they're euthanized due to health or behavioral issues, or sadly, sometimes lack of space, then that's not a live outcome. So the goal, kind of like the lowest common denominator bar, is about 90% of the animals should leave alive. So when you have a shelter like a municipal shelter like CACC, who are taking in all of those animals in one location and are the emergency room.
I found this on the web.
Uh-oh, that was my cat. And then you have, thanks so much. And then you have, he likes to sit on my keyboard, and then I don't know how to undo what he did.
I understand.
Oh God. And then you have, then you have a private shelter like ours, who takes in as many as we can until we're out of space and feel like, okay, we can't humanly take on any more right now. And then we have to say no. And Heartland Animal Shelter is a no-kill shelter. Our live release is 98.5% last year. Almost every animal leaves alive. We do everything that we can. Chicago Animal Care and Control, I think, ended the year at like 87 or 86%.
Which
so
is
they
still
didn't
amazing.
reach,
Yeah.
still really good. But they didn't reach what was called the no-kill standard, in spite of trying really hard to get as many animals out alive as they can. So one thing I've wanted to be able to say is that people shouldn't condemn shelters who aren't making that. And I'm not saying this is true for everyone, but most of the time, the people in those shelters really are trying, but it's a community problem. So we all have choices about what we do. So if some animals are dying at your local municipal shelter and your local rescue group, is doing everything they can, then that's great. But people make choices about what they're doing, the resources they're using, where they're getting animals from. And so I think it's important to understand it's a community concept, and every player in a given community is responsible for what happens with the animals in their community. So I hate to leave like on my soapbox like that, but I hope that makes sense.
It's such an important point to end on, though. That's so important for people to understand.
Thank you. Does it make sense?
It does.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Good.
So, Jenny, if people want to learn more about Heartland, where can they find you guys at? You have a website?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Please visit us at heartlandanimalshelter.org. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You can find us on all of those channels. Heartland Animal Shelter. Some are Heartland IL, because there are quite a few Heartlands, you can imagine.
Yeah.
And we love visitors. Come on up. We have lots of events throughout the year, so definitely follow us. And if you want to come to what some people call the shelter spa, please come and visit us. It's a lovely place and really good vibes, good energy, just to see lots of animals who probably wouldn't have gotten a chance anywhere else to get the care that they need and start to thrive and get that chance to find a new place and give a deserving human some unconditional love.
Jenny, you're a sweetheart and a blessing to so many people and so many animals. You're appreciated by a bunch of people from all over. I hope you know that, myself included. We thank you for what you do, and I hope you keep up the great work. And yeah, I hope to see you here soon.
I was going to say, when are we going to meet up and go visit Chance?
Whenever you can get down here. I'm happy to kidnap you whenever and bring you back down here with me. But whenever you can make it down here, we'll get you up there.
Right about now with the snow is a good time.
Hey, when you coming down, let me know what date you're coming down. I'll have a place ready.
It's nice
place ready
and
for you to
warm
stay.
here. Come on down.
Awesome. Oh my God, you're killing me.
What was
Okay,
it? Was it
I'll
80?
be there
Was it 80,
soon.
80 degrees today?
82 today.
Yeah, 80.
Oh my
I've been walking around
God.
flip flops all day and soaking it up.
Oh,
Not that I wouldn't
no.
anyhow, but
right,
you know what I'm saying.
right. As though he does anything else.
Yeah.
Right, you do that here too.
This is true. I do. This is true. I do. All right, Jenny.
All right,
Appreciate you.
awesome.
Love you a
Thank
bunch.
you.
Have a great afternoon, will you?
Thank you so much. This was great. Thanks, you guys.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in today. That was a fun conversation. Serious lady lays it all out there. You know what I mean? Kind of wears her heart on her sleeve. Which I think if you're doing a job like that, you have to. If you want to do it successfully, you have to have your heart in your sleeve.
Yep. Oh, you have to believe in it. You have to. If you don't believe in it, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, when I say the woman's no joke, I mean she is a powerhouse in the animal community, and the things she does. I mean the time and the effort and the her heart that she pours into her work is unlike anything I've ever seen. I've never seen anybody put the time and the effort into what she does that woman does. So anyhow, I feel like I said does too many times, but my lingo is off today.
Yep. Well, thanks for pointing it out.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. All right, guys. I will see y'all next Wednesday, I reckon. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Again, thank you, Miss Edna Wilson, for your sponsorship. Terrier TV, thanks a bunch. All right. We'll catch you all next week. Bye-bye.